Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
Well, you know what? My name is Nick Gunning, and today we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the cartoons, the comics, and beyond.
And beyond. Today we're focusing on the comics.
Yes.
We're discussing Ewoks comics number 4, The Valley of Evil. This issue was released on Marvel Star imprint on July 30th, 1985.
Today's episode was, again, illustrated by Warren Kremer, written by Dave Manick, collected in Ewoks Flight to Danger, but that collection is only 5 issues, so we're about to run out of things in that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You know, we got some interesting listener feedback that I wanted to point out. On our last episode, let's see, Jeremiah on Facebook says, one thing I noticed was there's no Star Wars branding. I thought at least on the cover there'd be a Star Wars logo or even a caption with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I guess they wanted our Endorian friends to succeed on their own. And that is a good point. We've talked about how it doesn't have the feel, but that's true. Even the comics, which you'd think the comics would do well to have like Star Wars branding on them.
Yeah.
It seems like you'd want that connection because the Star Wars comics from Marvel were really popular. You know, They had a good long run. So who knows? But good point. Thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting. It almost seems like the whole show, even the cartoon, the movies and everything has always just been an offshoot. Yeah. Completely unrelated to Star Wars in general, just the likeness, you know?
Maybe they thought like Star Wars fans wouldn't like it and they wouldn't be wrong, but maybe they thought, well, if we don't call it Star Wars, maybe people will, it's the same concept about the show Enterprise. Remember the first season, it was just Enterprise. And then they were like, let's just call it Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Same deal maybe. But anyway,
oh man, that's so true.
Featured cast member today, featured creative, is Jacqueline Rotcher. So she serves as the inker for this issue, and she has a pretty extensive background in comics, worked on several other projects, a lot of the things in the same vein. But one of the things she worked on was inking all 11 issues of the comic book, The Flintstone Kids, based on the animated series of the same name. Do you remember The Flintstone Kids?
I don't.
Really? Oh, I loved them. Yeah, I mean, it was just same concept as like a Muppet Babies or Tom and Jerry Kids. It was just Fred and Barney when they were little, hanging out with baby Betty and baby Wilma. Yeah, I had the action figures. I had the glasses from Pizza Hut. Loved the Flintstone Kids. I want to track down this comic book right now.
Flintstone Kids? Yeah, I never seen that.
Good time. What about Flintstone vitamins? Do you remember Flintstone vitamins?
I do.
Did you ever
make
have
you
them?
strong?
Yeah.
Wait, yes, and growing.
10 million strong and growing.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. You know it.
Man, that's iconic.
It is. And now we're transitioning into a Flintstone spot. So I hope everybody's okay with that.
Okay, so Fred and Barney.
Yeah. Just saying Flintstone vitamin, I can fully taste that in my mouth right now.
Just taste the chalk.
Yeah.
That first snap. And then like of a fresh bottle. Remember that first snap of fresh bottle? And then like you get
just the smell.
You get to the bottom of the bottle though, and they're like they don't snap anymore. They just kind of like mush crumble in your mouth, and you're like, oh yeah, it's the bottom of the bottle.
Yeah. That's what happens. All right, enough Flintstones. Let's talk about the Ewoks.
Yeah, for real. The uber detailed plot of Ewoks number 4, Valley of Evil. It should be no surprise that Wicket and Teebo try and take a shortcut, but wander into a valley guarded by a totem made of wood and skull. Wicket is reticent, but Teebo is not, commenting that Wicket worries too much. Almost immediately, they are caught with snares around their neck by a bunch of lizard people led by Jodar. So they take them to their cave and strangely provide them with food and drink. The leader of the lizard people is an Ewok. So naturally, Wicket and Teebo are relieved. However, Wicket overhears a secret conversation between Jodar and the Ewok and recognizes their Ewok host as Grak, a dishonorable Ewok exiled many years ago by Chief Chirpa. The young Ewoks discover that after Grak was banished to the valley, he befriended Jodar and the lizard warriors, teaching them fighting skills, and in return, promoting him as their leader. In the second act, we find the reason for offering the Ewoks food and drink, so they have the energy and stamina to be worthy prey. They let Wicket and Teebo loose with no weapons, giving them a head start. Avoiding the lizard warrior's deadly spears, Teebo almost falls off a nearby cliff and manages to hold onto a small tree to save his life. Wicket hides when Teebo is discovered. Before a lizard warrior can land a killing blow, Wicket rolls a large log into them, causing them to crash into the water below. The lizards, by the way.
Yes.
Now, Wicket can pull Teebo up to safety. They begin to run again and are spotted running into a burball batch. Thinking of a childhood game they played, Wicket and Teebo bat the burballs into their lizard attackers, causing extreme pain as they run off crying.
Good for you saying bat the burballs with a straight face. I guess you're more mature than I am.
I don't know. I did giggle writing it. Grak curses the young Ewoks' ingenuity, and Jodar decides to stop them himself. The young Ewoks made it to a disgusting swamp. Fortunately, this is the last obstacle between freedom and certain death. Making their way through the swamp on a log, Teebo gets his pole stuck in the mud. At least he thinks it's mud, but it actually turns out to be an Endorian swamp beast. The Ewoks narrowly escape into a nearby tree, though it's not safe due to a beehive. The two are sitting ducks to the lizard spears as Jodar nearly sticks them. Jodar begins to wade out into the swamp towards their tree. Full of compassion for Jodar, they call out to him, warning him of the swamp beast. Jodar didn't hear them soon enough and is snatched up in the beast's tail. Acting quickly, Wicket grabs the beehive and tosses it into the beast's mouth before it devours Jodar. Incapacitated, the beast swims off. Wicket drags Jodar to shore, where he comes to and is confused at their kindness towards him, despite his intent on killing them. They explain not all Ewoks are like Grak. The Ewoks are still worried about the hunt, and Jodar explains they won when they crossed past the skull totem. They head off into safety, but are quickly attacked by Grak. He snatches Teebo with a whip, then incapacitates Wicket in the eyes with some dirt. Before Grak can kill Wicket with a massive rock, he is stopped by Jodar. Furious, Grak reminds Jodar who is leader. However, Jodar is unmoved as he learns something new from the young Ewoks: compassion. The lizard warriors reject Grak, and he leaves their tribe. Wicket and Teebo bid Jodar and the lizard warriors goodbye. They both joke that this was the longest shortcut they've ever taken. Roll credits.
I thought it was funny when they came up on the beehive and they just called it a beehive, because normally they make up some like bee sounding name, you know, but it's not. It's like, oh no, a buzz blast nest.
Yeah, a buzz blast
nest. But they were just funny. Like a beehive.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. That's the only thing that's the same in both Endor and these United States. So I thought that was funny. I'm trying to think if we've had either an episode or a comic that had this few characters in it, because we don't see Nisa, we don't see Latara.
Yeah.
We only see like Chirpa and Logray in a brief flashback. They're not part of the action.
Yeah,
so
and they're not colorized.
I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. We really haven't. This was really just a cast of 4.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Grak, Jodar, Wicket, and Teebo. And then there's, a bunch of lizard guys.
I guess I was surprised to learn that Grak was an Ewok, because he doesn't really look like an Ewok.
He doesn't. Yeah.
He's got the eye patch and like a very human face.
You can see it in his hand. His hand has the 3
feet.
Yeah, his hand and feet. But you're right. He's
kinda
also weird. He's much taller in he would be a tall Ewok compared to an adult Ewok.
Yeah.
So
a glass of water.
A glass of water. Yeah. So that was, and he's got like a horn. So it didn't really look. It
was strange.
I was confused.
It was weird. I felt like it was a good structure. I mean, last time we were talking about, I guess on Droids, we were talking about how they were like captured, not captured, captured, not captured. Yeah. No, that was Ewoks. That was the last Ewoks. They kept getting captured and uncaptured.
Yep.
But this one I felt like had a nice trajectory. They were on this like chase the whole way. I liked having like sub villains like Jodar and his people, having them kind of be, extra like sort of henchmen-y. So yeah, I liked the different phases of the story. I thought it worked pretty well.
I think it did too, and it helped progress where it was like Yeah, it wasn't like captured, not captured, captured, where it was just like they were going to have several instances where their life was in danger if they're being hunted, right?
Yeah.
All the guys
Yeah.
go out and they fan out, they're gonna have to like take care of those guys, and then once they take care of those guys, there's still more guys, and so it made a lot of sense. I thought it was funny that it's called Valley of Death. Wouldn't you want it to be called like the Valley of Life, so that more people come and then you can kill them?
That's true. It's a bad name.
Yeah, it's like
it tells you right away. It's no good.
It's like naming your restaurant like, you know,
food
cheap
poisoning.
food, cold, warm beer, you know, like bad food,
There's
warm
a bone
beer.
in it.
Yeah, there's spoiled.
I want to know the backstory about how Jodar and the lizard men were like, yeah, you know what? Grak's going to lead us now. Let's take our cues from Grak. I think he's the one.
Yeah, because he taught them combat, but it's like, who are they fighting though?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure. In the Valley of Evil.
I think the greatest enemy, Steve, is mankind.
Probably.
So
they're
or whatever. They're
prepping for the Empire to come.
Maybe they.
Who knows? Maybe I don't know. Maybe that is kind of funny though that they were like, "You have taught us one aspect of life. You are now our leader." So they must not be very smart. You know, it'd be like somebody telling you like how to wash clothes, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's our leader."
I thought of laundry as an example too. I don't know why, but that was the first thing that came to my mind as well.
You definitely didn't.
The last, I really did. I really did. Yes, I did. The last couple of issues of this, like we've liked them all, but the last couple ones we were like, man, this would have been a great episode. This is the first one that I feel like I really like the story, but I don't think it would have made a good episode. But I think it works really well as a comic book. What do you think?
I didn't get that feeling either. That it could be that would make yeah, like the other ones, I was just like, this would be a great episode, like halfway through. Where this one was just like, eh.
Yeah, I just feel like something about the sequential chase works really well as a comic book in a way that, like, I don't think it would have worked as well on screen. So I just felt like that was interesting. I feel like they're using the medium right.
Yeah, there were a couple aspects. I mean, all my complaints, I think, are very, very small that really don't have any bearing on the story itself. Like, I thought it was a little weird that when Teebo was hanging from that branch, that it was like, oh no, like there was peril. He's hanging from the branch on this cliff. And then when Wicket knocks the lizards off with the log, it's just into water. And I was just like, oh,
right.
Wouldn't they have wanted to jump off of that? Then you'd be way far ahead. Yeah, so I thought that was really lame. I was just like, oh, I thought they would die, you know? So that to me was weird that I was like, well, you just hung that peril over, you know, dangled that in front of us, and then it ended up not really being perilous. Yeah, so
it was
that was weird to me.
I think it pretty successfully gets away with. There's really not much of a story. It's just
them running away. Yeah,
bad news situation, and they kind of get through it. But I'm not saying that as a knock. I think it works.
Yeah, so, this episode serves that purpose of just they take a shortcut, go into the wrong place, so they're being hunted, and that kind of makes sense. Like, you went into the wrong place at the wrong time. Now you got to get out. Very simple, very straightforward. Yeah. Hopefully they make it.
Quick in and out.
Got to get in. I would like to know more. Like, why? It seemed like Grak got banished because Ewoks are like, we don't attack first, kind of thing. So it's just like, what? It also did seem like it wasn't significant enough. That why would Chirpa just be saying like, oh yeah, one time like 12 years ago, I just banished a guy because he like punched somebody, you know, like.
Oh, they don't have a lot of new stories, you know. They're just the elders never leave. The elders just sit around and send the children, so they don't have much new to talk about. We haven't really talked about a moral or a lesson in a very long time because it hasn't really been a part of it. I did feel like this one did have kind of a strong moral lesson because Wicket and Teebo choose to rescue Jodar, and then when they talk to him, they're like, why? And they were like, well, you know, like our people don't need to be enemies. You think we're bad because you've had a bad experience with Grak here, but like we're just nice little bear men. So let's be friends.
Yeah,
you know?
That
was kind of a moral lesson. It's like, don't let past prejudice like cloud a pleasant future.
Life is more than what Grak has told you. So that is good. I thought immediately when you were like, there is a lesson, I thought, don't a shortcut's not always a shortcut.
That's also true.
They did kind of rang that one in a little bit harder than the whole compassion thing, because that kind of like went quick, where it was just like, yes, compassion. All right, we need to get going. Bye, see ya. You know, and it was just like, oh.
Yeah. I think in general, it's just, I think anybody can relate to the concept of don't get all your news from Grack.
Yeah, don't get all your news from Grack, right?
Grack has one point of view. You just want to make sure, you know.
I thought it was cool too that he learned something and he was curious about it, right? That was so
significant. You want Grack?
Jodar. Jodar was just like, whoa, you know, like you could have allowed me to die. It would have been easy, but they didn't, right? And that was, to him, that was so confusing why they would do that, because all he's known is combat, you know, or being taught to fight. And so I'm sure that felt good. Like I did think of that. Like, I wonder what that feels like when you receive compassion and you're a person that's like that, right? That like, that probably feels really good. Like that really good feeling of, oh my goodness, wow.
When you're a lizard man and someone is compassionate to you.
Yeah.
It's a very unique experience.
How does a lizard man think?
Unique and relatable, I think, to all of us. Let me ask you, Steve, what was your Oak of Arc moment?
So I thought it was really confusing when Jodar was like, oh, you guys have won. You passed the totem right there. And I was like, wait, the very beginning was, we're going to give them a head start. Just wait till they get to that totem right there. And I was just like, wait, is that the same totem? So I'm confused now. Was getting to the totem the head start? Was getting the totem they just had to kill them before then? That bugged me a little bit out, because I was confused. Like, oh, that's right. They never gave like a clear, because they probably never expected them to live. So it wasn't like, I mean, he just was like, if you escape, you win. But it was just like, what? How far? I mean, is like escape like the steps to the Bright Tree Village? Like, how far are these guys going to hunt them? I just assumed he was saying that like they're not going to escape. You're going to die, you know. But one of the things that I thought was really cool was the flashback.
Okay.
What they did with the colorization, though I thought it was off. I thought it should have been colored but faded, right? Because
there's nowhere to go but down when it comes to fading.
It was it was that like brown, yellowy brown and yellow color. So I was like, oh, that's weird. They like forgot to colorize it. And then I realized that it was a flashback, but they used the same bright color that Teebo and Wicket's cowl are.
True.
And then a muted muddy version of it as the contrast. And I thought,
the bubbles around the frames, I was like, oh, we're in a flashback.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that right away. Yeah. I just noticed the color. I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, why not just make it regular color, but then fade it? So it's just like, oh, it's like a dream, you know, like, woo, you know, they doing stuff. But here we go again. Here's to progress storyline. It's a flashback, which I think sometimes work and sometimes doesn't, right? Because you get that like, that makes sense. Okay, he was banished. I see. We see it. But I find myself wanting to know more. Like, oh, that would have been great to know that. So,
yeah. You're just like a sponge. You just eat it all up.
I do.
You want it all.
What about you?
The totem was, this isn't mine, but speaking of the totem, it was vaguely Native American in its design, had a very like Southwest Native American kind of vibe, which was an odd choice. And on the topic of cultural appropriation in the 80s, do you remember the Hanna-Barbera show Paw Paws?
Paw Paws? No, I don't think
so.
It's
rough.
Is it really?
It's rough. It's about a bunch of like little, I guess, Native American bears who live in the woods, and their names are like, they're Laughing Paw, Medicine Paw, Bumble Paw. They all have like, it's rough. It's rough.
That's pretty rough.
Probably best left in the past. But when I saw that with the feathers and everything, I was like, "Oh, this feels like Paw Paws."
Yeah.
And I had to look it up to see what it was. And Paw Paws was on 85 to 86, so it was right at the same time.
Yeah, I wonder if the same artists or same concept, somebody involved. Yeah.
I don't know. It's the first thing I thought of when I
thought of the 13th Warrior.
Okay.
Coincidentally, bear too. That's their the thing. They think they're like monsters or bears or something. The people dress up in bear skins. But yeah, like they have that similar thing that like there's this wall of like bones and bodies as a warning.
Is that the Michael Crichton one?
So yeah, there's the book.
That's Eaters of the Dead, right?
The book is Eaters of the Dead. And the movie is the 13th Warrior, which is crazy to me because Eaters of the Dead is such a great name. What are you doing? The 13th Warrior. No, when I looked up the book and it was like, it's called Eaters of the Dead, I was just like, Whose idea was
The
that?
13th Warrior is so generic, but anyway.
Yeah.
But what mine actually is, I would love to tell you. And that is my
Okavark,
Okavark moment is it's Grack's design.
Dude, yeah, I agree.
He just looks. Do you know that picture? It's kind of a famous picture, like in Star Wars circles, of all the Ewok actors with the helmets off.
Yes.
So it's just like the Ewok bodies and human heads.
Mhm.
That's exactly. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh, he's like that picture of the Ewok actors."
He does look like he's got a square. It looks like he's like he just put a hood
it looks
over.
like he just took the face piece off and that's it.
Yeah, the face piece.
It's just so weird. Like I genuinely didn't. It took me a long time to realize he was an Ewok.
Why don't they just make him like an Ewok? It's such a weird flex.
I mean,
yeah, like
just make him be an Ewok and keep the eye patch, and then you got it. But he has just like a very aggressively human face. Just weird. Just a weird thing. So that was mine.
What part did you like, though?
Did you forget your Chihuahua moment? Did you forget what that was called?
I did.
Okay. I just want to be just fully transparent.
Which part did you like?
You're like, Nick have good like. Nick good one.
Tell of like goodness.
Okay. Mine was Jodar the lizard, but it was his little belt. I thought
that is so true.
I thought his little belt was just darling. He was just a lizard, and he had just a little black belt
with a gold buckle.
Yeah, when he's struggling with the sea monster, he loses it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I thought as soon as he showed up with the belt, I was like, I'll ride or die for these guys. I love them. I really I liked their whole vibe though, because it's like Grack and then this whole lizard army, but the lizard army all talk so I don't know, Grack, what do you think? We take these guys out? What do you think? They were just so like everyday guy kind of. I just thought it was very funny. It made me laugh. I liked him a lot.
When I saw him get attacked by the beast, I was like, wait, how do they know that's Jodar? And I went back to the beginning and I was like, oh, the belt. The belt is how we know. Yeah. So that was funny. Yeah. I love that you caught that. For me, it was the...
Yeah. All right. Well, hit me. What's yours? And it's called the Ichiwawa moment. Steve.
Yes.
The Ichiwawa moment.
Not my good moment.
Not that one. No.
So, yeah, my Ichiwawa moment was the fact that for every situation, there was a bit of Ewok ingenuity, right? We kind of talk about how sometimes we lose. We've had episodes where there's just been none, right? Where... the enemy gets defeated because of luck, and it's just like, well, you just kind of wrote ingenuity out of the so this was like, oh hey, remember that game we used to play? Let's do that, it'll work. Boom, it works. Wicket hides. I remember reading that one part and I was like, oh, where did Wicket go? Like that's really weird. And he goes behind and he's like, oh I can use this. And guess what, later on they use that log that he pushed into the water.
You're right.
Is it the same log? Right. I think it might be the same log. So it's just like it just was interesting that like along the way they used all the stuff that was around them, the forest. So even though they were being attacked and had no weapons, they improvised and they were able to be on the frontal attack when things happened. So I thought that was very cool because they did spotlight that, like, oh, we have no weapons, blah blah blah. Well, they did. They had ball bats. Burball bat, which was clearly baseball, but let's see who can hit it the farthest.
That's true. I was wondering, would a burball stick to a lizard? Because in our world,
not right.
I would say no.
But... So for me, what I thought of was burdock, and if you've ever run through burdock, those are those tiny little balls that stick to your socks and pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, they probably wouldn't stick to a scaly, smooth skin.
I wouldn't think so.
But I mean, that ruins the storyline. You just ruined it.
Yeah, forget it. This is 0 for me. It's a 0 out of 5. You know what? This was hard to rate because the past stories have been complex, and this was anything but. Yeah. But it felt very, very fun and actiony. So I mean, I'm still right up there. I'll say. I'm going to say 3.5.
I was going to say 3.5 too.
It's a high 3.5 because I did like it.
Ooh, mine was a low. Mine would have been a 3.25, but 3.5, there wasn't much to mess up. There wasn't much, right? But it also wasn't. I wasn't just like, ugh, this is so dumb. But I don't want to give it a 3 and have it be in the middle because I think it was a little bit better than being average. I thought it was clever. There was aspects of it that were clever. So I think a 3.5. I'm confident with that.
Yeah. Steve, I'm just looking back at the This Endorian Life archive to see when the last time we had a guest on. And if you don't count Kendra on Sharknado 3, which was a crossover, not a true guest.
Yeah.
The last time was Amanda Smith for the Star Wars Day book club back in May, but that was a crossover with How's Things. So the last time we had a guest was Horville's Hut of Horrors with Sally Jacoby Murphy back in January.
Oh my gosh, it was so long ago.
I know. And I'm pleased to inform our listeners that Sally Jacoby Murphy will come back to defend her crown as the Queen of Halloween in our next episode.
She is the queen. I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun.
It's true. It's uncontested. Queen of Halloween.
Yep.
From now and forevermore. But we have a fun little thing. We're going to be covering a Star Wars fan film called Ewok Hunt, a Star Wars horror story, which you can readily find on YouTube. And we'll toss it out on our social medias and all that. But watch it ahead of time. And then Sally's going to come and talk with us next time for our Halloween special. Are you excited, Steve?
I am excited. We're going to have a good time talking about it. I'm excited. I'm excited to have Sally. She's so much fun.
I know. She is fun. I know that you're a little chicken man.
I am.
When it comes to scary things. Do you have any Halloween-y plans? Are you reading any spooky books, watching spooky movies?
I don't. There's probably one movie in the past 10 years that was scary that I wanted to watch.
What was it?
Lights Out. I've still not seen it.
Lights Out? I don't know that one.
The ad for it was crazy. They would like turn off the lights and then turn them back on, but then the shadow would be closer. And I was like, "Oh, that's really scary." That's like that right down my a jump starty movie. And like I remember one time I played that game. Was it a quarantine? It was quarantine or something like that. And I played the game for about 9 minutes, and I was just like, I'm done.
Too much.
I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm literally going to die playing this game. So not good with scary stuff. I never plan it.
Yeah,
I see all the ads on TV for like, it's all the Halloween movies, and I'm like, cool. All the stuff I'm not gonna watch.
The 2016 film Lights Out is only rated PG-13, so
really?
You might be able to handle it. Yeah, for my library pod,
I'll be able to handle it.
You might be able to. My day job over with the David A. Howe Public Library on our show, But Have You Tried? Sally's going to join us on that too. And she and Allie and I are going to talk about the film The Others with Nicole Kidman, which I do really recommend. So if you haven't seen that, I think you could handle that.
I have not. Good. I've not seen that.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, anyway, hope everybody's having a good spooky season. Steve, I hope you're comfortably settled into your 40s now. And I guess that's it for this week. Watch Ewok Hunt and come back next time. Steve, I'll see you then.
I'll see you then. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include Previously on X-Men, 9021 Here We Go, and 90s Music Got Me Like. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or X, formerly Twitter, at Endorian Life, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.